Just interviewed Alyssa Weber the other day, and she and I think, have a lot more in common than I would have expected. But from growing up on a farm, learning the value of a dollar, and learning the value of hard work ethic, take a listen. She'll kind of give you some tips and tricks on what got her to where she's at today. Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shae Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." So today I have Alyssa Weber, who grew up outside of Lincoln on a farm near Hickman, where she learned the values of hard work, integrity, and honesty from a young age. She and her sister were home educated by their mother for all 13 years, which allowed them the flexibility to travel across the U.S. for family vacations and horse shows while continuing their schooling on the go. This unique upbringing also taught Alyssa the importance of prioritizing and time management. Alyssa has been married to her high school sweetheart for over 15 years, and her proudest achievement is being a mother of her sons, Owen and Wyatt. With 15 years of experience in the service industry, Alyssa excels in high-pressure, fast-paced environments. Her ability to understand and anticipate people's needs has helped her build meaningful connections and long-lasting relationships. This passion for customer service and relationship building led her to pursue a career in real estate where she can apply her skills to help others. Alyssa is excited to be part of the A team at Woods Brothers Realty, where she has access to over 20 years of combined experience and expertise to assist clients with all their real estate needs. So Alyssa, thank you so much for being here. And
hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, how exciting and how different is it that you were raised homeschooled? That's really neat. And I'm starting to see a lot more of that now than
there is a lot more. Yeah, I think ever since, COVID, when I was growing up, my mom had to go through a lot of hoops just to homeschool us. And there were certain times we couldn't be outside. And we used to live in Hickman when we first were growing up, and you had to be careful. I couldn't be outside because people would ask where you were and why you're not at school. And it was kind of like it wasn't a thing back in, the 1990s. It wasn't a thing. And, but now I think since COVID has really opened up the doors for so many moms, and that you have co-ops now, you have like CC groups, you have there's just so many different varieties of ways you can do it now. And we're planning on homeschooling our two boys as well. So
I was just going to ask that. Is that kind of going to be your guys' plan? Are you willing to take on more children? I'm kidding. But I mean, as a homeschool kind of thing.
No, I mean, no more. Our youngest Wyatt, I love him to pieces. Of course I do, but he has literally taken off about 10 years of my life in the last 18 months. So no, we're done. So, anyway, I'm excited though. I don't know if I'll necessarily do it the full 13 years. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how I guess we're just going to go year by year with it. But my sister, Emily, she homeschools our two nieces, and she does a co-op with them as well. And they just thrive, and they do so well. They
And
love
what do
it.
you mean by co-op? I mean, is that like some classes at school and some at home kind of thing?
So it's called Classical Conversations, is what my oldest niece Sailor, what she goes to. They meet every Friday and they literally give you the curriculum every Friday for what you need to be learning the whole week.
Wow.
And that's what I need because I am not like a hands-on. I'm just not wired that way. I need somebody to tell me what to do.
Mhm.
And so we'll probably go that route. And she also started another co-op called, I can't remember what it's called, but she goes there Mondays and Wednesdays as well.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
but my sister does, her other daughter only goes to CC group on Fridays and they just go 1 day a week and then they do all the curriculum rest at home. So,
That's really neat.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a lot more common, which rightfully so, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
I think that if I've considered it slightly, like there's a part of me that's like I would love to, but there's the other part of me that's like I wonder how much it would take away from my business because I love what I do. I love real estate. I love having that time away. I
Hmm.
love my kids dearly, don't get me wrong,
Right. Right.
but I
Right.
need that time away. So
Hmm.
I've just gone back and forth on how could I handle that, but it's really interesting
Yeah.
to know that they'll give you the curriculum because I'm kind of like you, like, no.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then
No, they give you everything that you need. So and honestly, we live right by North High School. We live a half a mile away from it. I mean, we can see the lights on Friday nights, football nights. We can hear when track is going, everything. It would be the most easiest route to go,
Mhm.
to send them to Norse. And that's where my husband went to school. Like all of our friends went to school. All of our friends' kids go to there. Um, but I just doesn't feel right to send them there. I don't know why. So
Yeah,
we're just not going to go that route. And we might later on. I mean,
yeah.
my husband has big aspirations for our 3-year-old Owen, our oldest, wants him to be like a big, big time pitcher and a football player. And I'm like, you never know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, you just have to follow that intuition. And as a mom,
yeah,
you just kind of know what you want and what's good for the kids and what's not. But like you said, I mean, that could
yeah,
change a year, 2 years when you start doing it and realize like, hey, maybe I want to go, my career path a little bit more, whatever, and
yeah.
we can't feel guilty for whatever we choose. And I think that there's always
Right.
a lot of mom guilt.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
for sure. Yes. Yes.
there is.
Mom
And
guilt is a huge thing. It's a real thing.
yeah. So tell me, like,
Like
what
this,
have you experienced with mom guilt?
I mean, just like this morning, I mean, I had it this morning. Thankfully, my husband and I are super blessed because my in-laws live very close to us. My parents live very close to us. And when I'm saying close, I'm meaning like a stone throw away. Like my in-laws they're our next door neighbor, basically. We live on acreage, so they're not like right next to us, but they're
Yep.
very close. My parents live on the other side of the section from us. So we don't have to do childcare, so that's amazing. But like this morning, I was gone for the majority of the day yesterday, putting signs in yards, like getting some listings up and going, um, and just doing just some work and marketing and stuff. And I was gone for the majority of the morning. And so then last night, I told my son, I was like, hey, just so you know, we're going to go back to Nana and Papa's tomorrow because I have to go back to work tomorrow morning and do some stuff in town. Melted down. And then this morning, he didn't eat his breakfast because he was so upset because he knew that he was going back to his Nana's and Papa's. And he loves his Nana and Papa. But it was just like, he goes, Mom, I don't want you to leave. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Like, I have to. Like, I got to go to work and I do a couple things and I'll be back to come and get you. And just complete meltdown. And then you have like this mom guilt. And it's like, you know what, though? Like, what I'm doing is going to be, it's bettering him. It's going to better his life.
Mhm.
So, no, I mean, mom guilt is a real thing. Even when I think like when they're first born, when you're a first mom, and I'm only almost 4 years into being a mom, I think it's that first time you leave to get out of the house. And it's like, I need to just go walk the halls at Target. I'm going to leave you alone with the baby for 2 hours. That's about as long as I can be gone for. And like I mean, the whole time you just have guilt the whole entire time that
Yeah.
you're there and you're like, oh, I miss them. So
Yeah.
it's a weird thing.
I
It's
know.
weird.
I know. Because you
Can't
you
explain
need
it.
that time. You need that time away. You want that time away. And then you're away and you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad. I kind of miss them. And as
Exactly.
time goes and the more kids you have, I think like you're okay with that separation because
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
especially if you have nieces and nephews, you kind of get used to it. But
Yeah.
I actually had the mom guilt last night, and I would say I probably don't have the mom guilt as much as maybe a lot of other moms do, and I don't really know why. It's not that I don't love my kids. I think I also know the importance of like my time and my sanity, but
Yeah.
did yesterday because I told my daughter, my oldest, who's 9, I said, I'll pick you guys up a little bit early, right after school. You'll still have to go to the after school program for a little bit, but I'll still pick you up a little early. Well, we have an
Mhm.
Airbnb and we had somebody check out the day before. It didn't get cleaned, and my cleaning people were out of town. So they were going to work on it today. Well, then we had somebody book it for like 2 weeks, and they're like, we'll be there tonight at 6 or 8. And I'm like, and I didn't have anybody to go clean it. And it was horrible.
Oh,
And I don't
shoot.
like cleaning it. I don't like cleaning. So anyway, so I ended up having to go there to clean, and my husband did pick him up a little bit early, but that was like my mom guilt. I'm like, do I go pick him up? But I have to get this clean. It was just,
Yep.
there's just that mom guilt, and then I was there until
Oh,
like
yeah.
6 o'clock, and I'm just like, this is terrible. I don't like
Yep.
anything
Yep.
about
Yep.
this, but it's
Yeah.
your reputation though, too, that I had to get it clean.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah. And
So
then again, too, it's like this is going to benefit them. It's going to be able to put food on the table for my children. It's just, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
I know it is.
Yep.
And then like they want these Halloween costumes. I'm like, actually, this probably sounds terrible as a parent, and maybe other parents do this too. But I told them, I said, okay, because I think Halloween is overrated, in my opinion.
Yes.
You spend a
Yes.
lot of money on
Yes.
Halloween costumes for one time.
Yes.
So usually I'm either like reusing them or I'm borrowing whatever. So this year they wanted to be certain things. And I said, okay, I'll pay $20 for you guys to get a Halloween costume. I said, anything over that, you're paying the difference.
You're on your own.
Yeah, that's what I told him. So we were picking out Halloween costumes this morning, and but you know what? It learns the concept of money though, because the Halloween costume that my son really, really wanted was like $40. I said, okay, Kason. Now
No.
I said, that's fine. We'll buy it, but you'll have to pay me. It was a difference of $18. I said, that's $18 that you'll have to get out of your account. And at
Yep.
first he said yes, but then we looked a little bit more and he found a different one that was $23. I said, okay, that's
Oh,
$3
there you go.
difference. And so he ended up choosing the one for 23. And he's like, are you really going to
Right.
take that money? I was like, no, you're going to give me that money. Like I'm really going to hold you to it. That sounds silly, but I feel like that they need to learn the concept. Like if this is our agreement, you need to go into your piggy bank, get me the
Yep.
$3 and you will give it to me. I might sneak it
Yep.
back into his little piggy bank.
Right.
It doesn't matter, but
Right.
it's
But
the
it's the
concept.
principle of the value of a dollar,
Yes.
and you need to realize like money is money and yeah,
Yeah.
you have to work for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I know
Yep.
people are probably like, "Oh my gosh, Shae, you're so harsh," but I'll
Oh
pay.
no, I was raised the same way. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you $20 and whatever, anything above that, that's on you. But I thought it was interesting that the one that he really, really, really wanted, he realized was $18 more. And the one that he would be okay with was $3 more. So he went with the $3. So when we get home tonight, he's giving me $3.
my gosh, I love that. You and it sounds like we're a lot on the same. Yeah,
Hmm.
we're the same on that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
parenting style for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to understand the power of money and
Yeah.
the
Concept of
value.
money. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Value of money.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
yeah, and it's fun because then they understand, they go in, they learn, they count, they do all those things. It's like, okay, well, if you want,
Yep.
we don't do like they have chores, but that's standard. But if you want to earn money, the
Yep.
dishes and the
Extra.
dishwasher,
Gotta do
that's
extra things.
yes, exactly. If you
Yep.
want to pick up
Oh
dog
yeah.
poop out in the yard, I'll pay you for that. But the dishes, that's your responsibility. The bathroom,
Yeah.
that's your responsibility. Your room, that's your
Yep.
responsibility. But if you want to go pick up dog poop because I don't like doing that, I will pay you for it. So
Hmm. That is so funny. My parents, like you just said, like just to live in their home, it was making your bed and making sure your room was tidy. Which, if my mom listens to this podcast, she'll be like, "Your bedroom was never tidy." But I would always just shove everything underneath my bed or in my closet and close the doors. Um, but I mean, you were right. We had horses growing up. We lived on an acreage, and so that my sister and I's passion was horses. And so my parents would pay us extra money if we had an allowance. I think it was like $10 a month or a week or something like that. But it was, you can get extra if you go pick up the dog poop in the yard, or if you go pick the thistles in the fields, and pick
Right.
up all the little, whatever it was. But that is what kind of registered in our mind of like, oh, you have to actually work for stuff. Like things don't just come to you. You have to work at it, whether it's for a career, whether it's for school, whether it's just for a job.
Mhm.
Um, but that was my sister and I, my parents, we wanted horses so, so badly. And most of my sister did at the first, and then I kind of tagged, like little sister tagged along and wanted to do whatever she wanted to do. And my parents were like, okay, fine, we will buy the most expensive things. Like we'll get the truck, the trailer, and the barn. But like you guys need to do your due diligence and figure out how much a vet bill's gonna cost, how much grain is gonna cost, how much a bale of hay is gonna cost. You need to like, so we had to do all of these phone calls. And then when we finally got the number, whatever it was, we were both like, oh my gosh, like how do you keep a horse? So my sister and I, when we were younger, I was probably 13 because she could drive, so she was 15. And we would go door to door and we were asking anybody if we could clean their house, mow their lawn. We worked at a little coffee shop in our little town here in Hickman. Like it was, I mean, anything we could to keep these horses. And we ended up, doing it and had jobs when we were 13 years old.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
So
I love, love, love that because I would say that
yeah,
you and I must be pretty similar. I grew up on a farm. We had horses. We
yeah,
had all sorts of animals.
yep.
We never had an allowance, but I know like my dad's a farmer, so chopping bull thistles, the worst thing in the entire world. He'd just
Hmm.
drop us off in a field because that was back before they actually had machinery. So you had to actually go out there with that rusty
Yep.
old hoe that was really
Yes. Yep.
dull.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
swing, and then the bull thistles cut your arm, and then you hit your
Oh yeah.
shin, all the things. And
Yep.
yeah, dad would just drop us off and I think maybe gave us a water. I don't know. And we would be out there for hours and we would get paid.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they would give us money for, not the
Hmm.
standard chores and even feeding our own
Right.
horses and animals.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to get paid for that. But
Right. But it goes back to what you just said about your son is like he wanted the one that was $40 and he went with 23 or whatever you said it was, is when I wanted something for me, like whether it was clothing or something. Remember that I think it probably is still around that Claire's.
oh,
Did you
yeah.
ever do Claire's?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh, very
Okay. So
much
you
so.
would buy like
It's still around. It's still around.
is it okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, you just buy junk there. But like I always went back to like when I was cleaning homes, like when I was really little, not little, but like, I was a teenager, there were some people's houses that we cleaned for that I was like, you dreaded going there because you know how disgusting it was going to be. And we got paid $40 to do this one house, and it was a big house. And I remember like I would always look at something with a price tag and be like, oh, I had to clean so and so's toilet for this amount of money. Is that worth it? And then it clicked. Something inside my brain was like, oh, is it really worth is this earrings that I want or whatever it was? Or is this horse brush or this new bridle that I want $100? I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to mow two lawns and clean two houses in order to pay for this bridle. Is it worth it? 9 out of 10 times I would put whatever it was back and I'll always be like, no.
Isn't
But it
that
was weird
crazy
because
when your
that's how my
mind starts?
parents, and I'm so thankful that my parents did that. Because a lot of our friends back in that time, like they just, here you go. Here's some money. Can I have some money to go out to eat or go out with friends? And they didn't have any concept or value of a dollar. And I was like, oh, wow. And then, you as a kid, you're like, oh, my parents are so mean. And now I am so thankful. And my husband was raised that exact same way. I mean, the exact same way I was. So, yeah, I mean, my husband worked really, really hard when he was younger.
Yeah.
He
And when
still
you
does,
start
but when he
putting
was younger, he worked really, really hard.
Yeah. And when you start putting that, because I remember, buckle was always a thing back in our day. You wanted
Oh,
the
yeah.
expensive
Oh,
buckles
yeah.
that, which $75,
Oh, yeah.
$100. And when you started putting your time per hour towards that, you're thinking, holy moly, that's, back when I was a lifeguard getting paid 5.50 an hour. I'm like, that's like 12 hours of work.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
exhausting just for
Yes.
one pair.
One pair of jeans. Yep. Or
Mhm.
like you go into Holster and you'd look at a shirt and it was like $35 for a t-shirt back then. That was, I mean, still that to me, that's a lot of money for a t-shirt, but I'm
Yeah.
like, You're like, oh man, that's a lot of hard work that I put in just for a skimpy little t-shirt,
Mhm.
which more than likely my parents would say you have to take it back if it's too skimpy. But
Isn't that the truth?
anyway,
So I used to babysit. We mowed lawns, and
oh yeah.
I'll never forget. And I wish we could find the flyer for this. But when I was 11, I told my mom I wanted to start my own job. I wanted to figure something else out. And she's like, "Well, why don't you just babysit more and we can more mow lawns?" I was like, "Well, I already do that." I was like, "I need to find something else that like I can kind of make money without actually having to really be there." So I actually started a dog boarding facility at age 11. And I wish I could find the flyer because I remember sitting down. I remember, clip art back in the day. You'd put clip art on a Word document. And I remember printing it and I took it out to my mom. I said, "Mom, this is what I want to do." It was $5 a day to board your dog. And she said, "Okay." So we went out to our junk shed, is what we called it. Oh, no, 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 the cat shed. And it was, I don't want to catch it because that's where the cats like apparently slept. But we went out there and it was full of stuff. So her and I cleaned it all out. No joke. We put up chicken wire to divide the fences or to divide the kennels, put down plywood. And so can you imagine cleaning pee and poop off of plywood? No, nasty.
No.
So like it was a whole nother level. We had a little space heater. Everything about it was illegal. 100%. I don't know if they had codes back then, but if they did,
Fine.
100% illegal. Yep, space heaters. Yeah, chicken wire. I remember taking a sawzall. I cut a hole between like the inside of the door and the outside, and we had 3 kennels. But I did that for, well, it was $5 a day, so I could get $15 a day is what I was making on these dog boarding businesses. And what's really cool about it is it's actually still running to this day. My sister took it over. Now it doesn't look like that. It's up to code. It is amazing. It is
There's more than
heated.
chicken wire and plywood.
Yeah, no, all of that is no longer. She actually has to go through code stuff, but they got like
Oh my
26
God.
panels. It is 24/7 surveillance. It's heated floors, heated and cooled inside. I mean,
Oh
it
my
is
word. How
top
cool is
dog.
that?
Yeah. So it was funny because
That's awesome.
after about 2 years into it, we finally poured concrete, which was a huge lifesaver. And yeah,
Yeah.
and then after I
But also a lot of money though.
it is. And so I had to take that in
Yeah.
consideration because now my parents did pay for half of it, but I paid for the other half. But yeah, I mean, and we poured it ourselves. So it wasn't like super expensive as, we did it ourselves. But yeah,
Yeah.
just crazy things like that. And then my younger sister took over after I graduated. My mom took it over after my younger sister graduated. And then my older sister bought our farm place and then they built a whole new facility. And so it was just, I mean, that's been going on.
Wow.
I'm 33 now, so 22 years, 23 years, it's just,
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. You have to
cool.
check it
That's
out.
really cool.
It's called Banks Boarding now. You have to check it out. It is an amazing facility. They are full 24.
Banks, like Banks.
Yep, yep. Banks Boarding. And
Okay.
it's so like I had my 2 dogs there, and I think it was 20 or $25 a day for those 2 dogs. So
Yeah.
very cheap,
Yeah.
but 24/7
Yeah.
surveillance, heat and cooled, walk twice a day. I mean, you couldn't get any better.
I would
But
love it.
yeah,
That's so cool that
yeah,
that's still a thing. That's awesome.
it is. It is, but it's still instilling that work ethic to get where you want to go and what you want to do, but being able to put the value of money per hour for whatever you do.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
how long have you been in real estate then?
I got my license in April of 21.
Okay. Oh, after COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
how has
Yep.
that been for you
I
then?
tried getting, let me rephrase this. I tried getting my license and passing it, but I failed it. I actually, when you have to, here in Lincoln, they have like this place where you go into, and it's this stairwell down into like the depths of,
Yeah,
you
nope,
know,
that's where I took mine. Was it at
it's H&R Block at the base of
yes, that's where
H&R.
I took mine. You go down the stairs in
And
the
like, and the
dungeon.
lights are like, and then there
Yeah.
was this adorable
Old lady.
older
Yes.
older lady, and I was like out to here. I was huge, and I tried taking it like 4 weeks before I was due, and I was already having like some pains, and the lady was like, "Now don't you go having that baby in my room," and I was like, "Don't worry." But yeah, so I tried taking it that time, and then after I didn't pass it, and then I just waited and I just studied my brains out until April, and I passed it finally in April of 21. So,
That is so funny. That's exactly where I took mine. I'm sure it's probably the
my
same old
gosh.
lady. And I actually
Yep.
passed. And once she handed the sheet to me, I literally hugged her. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I don't know if you are okay with that. She's like, oh, no, it happens. I'm like, okay, good, because I just hugged you.
Yeah.
It was,
Right.
but
Yep.
yeah, nope, yep, like that sketchy dungeon, you go down. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah. And you have all these cameras like pointing at you and looking at you, and you're like, "Whew, okay, what was this again?" Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm a horrible test taker. And honest to goodness, I would have never in a million years seen myself as doing real estate. I didn't even know anybody that like my none of my relatives, my parents, nobody's in real estate. Um, and I'm a horrible test taker, which is actually the reason why I did not go to college. I hated school,
mhm.
which I don't know how my mom did it, because trying to train or teach somebody school when they hate school, I know I put my mom through hell, but um, I would have never have gotten it into real estate or even tried to take my test or take any of the classes. And it was only for my very good friend Amy Mosser, who is in real estate. She's actually, I'm on her team. She was the one that used to come into the restaurant I worked at for over almost a decade. And she was like, she's a big time realtor here in Lincoln. And um, she's like, you can do it. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, is there a test? She's like, well, I mean, yeah. I'm out. I'm like, no way. I'm not taking it. And she was like, it's not that bad. You can take it as many times as you want to. And I'm like, no way. And then she ended up kind of twisting my arm, and she's like, you have to do it. And so I'm so glad that she did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
yeah.
it's like an ACT test. I am not a test taker. I don't like it. I'm not a fan
Mm-mm.
of it. It was, yeah, no, horrible. I'm more of a bigger vision. If somebody else can figure out the nuances of everything else in between, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like any of that. So,
I don't either. No, it's not my thing, not my jam.
yeah,
Yeah, nope, nope.
that's
Even
awesome.
if I have to take a test now just to like, for like continuing ed classes, and that they make, I'm always like, beginning of the class, they always say, like, is there any questions before we get started? I'm like, is there any test at the end of this class? Like, I'm sure I would pass it. And actually, I may not, but I just psych myself out. So, but I'm always like, yeah, is there a test at the end of this? And they're always like, no, it's just CE. And I'm like, okay, good.
Then we can proceed. No big deal. We'll proceed.
Then I will stay.
Absolutely. So where do you see like your real estate going? Do you think that like when your kids get a little bit older, you'll maybe slow down a little bit, or where are you at with that?
Um, Honestly, I have such a good balance now that, I mean, my in-laws are retired. My mom's a stay-at-home. She retired when my sister started having kids, and I mean, honestly, I can just drop my kids off whenever needed. It's really nice. So, I mean, I where I see myself is I would love, I mean, I'm all about like writing down affirmations and writing things down every day. And what I have on one of my goals is to be a top 10 producer here in Lincoln.
Mhm.
So I say it's one of my biggest goals to be a top 10, but I'm trying, I used to put a time on it, like by December of 2024. And I've kind of have noticed that's too much pressure on myself. And when I start seeing other people doing really well, I am like, oh, gosh, like what am I doing wrong? And
Mhm.
then I have to remember that everybody is at their own pace. Everybody is doing the best they can. I'm doing the best I can. And, some of these people that are doing really well don't have an 18-month-old, don't have a 3-year-old at home.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like my priorities are more at home right now with my kids. I want to try to soak this up as much as I can.
Mhm.
Um, but I think as I get older, I mean, like I said, I still plan on homeschooling. So I don't really know how much, I mean, I'm going to get even busier. So I feel like right now is my time to really start hitting the pavement and, selling houses, selling real estate. Um, but yeah, I think my goal long term is, just have a huge career in real estate, be a name that everybody knows.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up because everybody falls victim to the comparison game. And
Yes.
I even remind myself, like I get on a call every Tuesday and Thursday with my group of people. And that's one of the things that we talk
Mhm.
about a lot is trying not to compare yourself, especially when you have down times. Because I've been doing real estate for 6+ years and I've done very well, but I
Mhm.
still have those days, those weeks, those months. And I'm like, gosh, you're
Of course
comparing.
you do.
And then
Yeah.
but the other thing that we need to not do is compare, like, okay, well, the reason that they're here is because they don't have this, like you said, with kids and stuff, because I would do that too. It's like, oh, they don't have any kids at home. Okay, well, when you have, but then I talk to my mom, and when you have older kids, big problems, little kids, little problems. And I can totally see that. So I have to remind myself, okay, like, don't give an excuse. Like, what if this is what I want, this is what I need to do. And but we all go through that, well, mind fuck in real
Yeah.
estate of holy
Right.
moly, like, this is where I want to go. Why are things not working? I'm sticking this kind of time and money, and that dang comparison game, I tell you what, it's just not, it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Hmm. And my best friend Amy, who's in real estate, she always says comparison is a thief of joy.
Mhm.
If you're comparing yourself to people all the time, it's like
Draining.
it's just going to bog you down. It's like she always told her from the get-go, she was like, keep your blinders on. Like, imagine like you're a horse and you have like those blinders on. And she was like, just keep your head down and just do the best you know how and do the best you can. Be true to yourself, be honest, and stay true to yourself. Don't do anything that you're like, oh, that's kind of sketchy. Don't do it. Just stay true to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And that can be very challenging at times, especially because, like, especially if you're working with clients or you're going to be. I had a situation come up several different times where I just didn't align with this individual's belief, but he wanted me to market, and I knew that there was opportunity there. It was a
Hmm.
very, very, very hard decision
Oh
because
yeah.
the agents who were marketing with them were doing very well. They were getting all. Now, I don't know if that's exactly why, but it was a big coincidence, and they kept approaching me. It's like, only for a couple $100, we'll do this and this and this. But I did not
Yeah.
align with the platform and what he truly represented. And I could not do it. And I had other agents like, Shae, maybe we should. And I'm like, there is just something telling me I can't. And
Yeah.
I even talked to my broker or my coach about it, and he's like, "Nope. If you don't want to do that, do not do it. We're not putting yourself in that position. We'll find other ways around it." And I am
Yep.
so thankful I did not, because that guy's reputation and that platform is catching up to him. And anybody I talk to, they're like, he is crooked, he is manipulative. I'm like, I
Yep.
know, I saw that from the beginning, but it
Yep.
it pulled me. It pulled me hard.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to be the best at what their career is and like
Yeah.
what their field of work is? Who doesn't want to be the best? And I think it's hard too with social media because you see these moms that are these influencers, right? Where they're working outside of the home and yet they have like these perfect bodies and the perfect house in the background and their kids look so sweet and that they're killing it in every angle of every part of their life. And but obviously you don't know what goes on after that camera clicks off, that phone clicks off. You have no idea. And then, kind of like what you said, it came out that he's kind of crooked or whatever. I mean, that's you see people like, oh, so and so filed bankruptcy, and you're like, oh, like,
Yes.
no
Or they
way,
got
you thought they had it
divorced, or
all. Divorce,
yes.
yeah, like they had it all. You thought they had it all, and their kids were the best, or their kids are in prison now because of, it's just, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think it's really hard because who doesn't want to be the best at what
Yeah.
they're doing?
Hmm.
Does it bother me that some people that I know that got their license the same time I did are doing way better than me? Yes, that is driving me absolutely nuts, but I have to like come back to like
Yeah.
just come back to the center and be like, okay, I'm super happy where I am. And I think one of the big things for me too is success looks different for everyone.
Hmm.
I mean, there is a gentleman that's doing really well, and I was actually just talking to Amy about this yesterday. Is he got his license the same time I did, but he's a single guy, and I'm like, he doesn't have responsibilities like that I have.
Yeah.
He's not married. I'm like, that's why he's able to do what he's doing, and so I just have to remind myself, of those things. But it's really hard not to kind of want to like peek outside and be like, oh crap, they're doing a lot better than it's like just stay in your lane, and eventually it'll come to you.
And competition is good because it does make us level up, but we
Yep.
definitely need to like recognize, hey, you know what? You're comparing his business life to yours, but you're also
Hmm.
not seeing I mean, you are, but sometimes we don't see the full picture. Like, you know what?
Right.
My priority too, like I have these goals with my coach, that I want to hit so many transactions,
Yeah.
and much in
Yep.
volume. And I'm like, but at
Yep.
the same time, I want to have a very healthy lifestyle with my husband and my kids.
Right.
So can I do both? Maybe, but I'm going to
Hmm.
need to make some sacrifices in other areas at different times. So
Right.
it's just being able to do what you want while still maintaining a healthy lifestyle at home and kids, and trying to keep yourself alive and fit and healthy and read
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the whole
Exactly.
thing.
The
But
whole thing. While the husbands are just like, why
eh,
are you tired?
yeah.
Why can't you stay up and watch a movie? I'm like, oh my gosh,
No, I went to
get
bed
out
at
of
like
here.
9 last night. I got the kids to bed at 8:30, and I'm like, and my husband's like, Shae, are you staying up here? I'm like, yes. I'm staying up here. It is 8:30 and I'm gonna go lay down. And I probably didn't fall asleep until like 9:30, but I don't care. I get up at 4:30. I was dead tired and I was done.
Yep.
Nope, I don't feel bad. Is there a lot of things that I need to do? Yes, but I am
Yes.
gonna go to bed. So
Or it's like I'm in a phase of life where my kids have always been bad sleepers and always, 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 always. And they're now kind of reverting. They were getting better. Now they're kind of reverting back to like twice a night. They're both getting up. So that's 4 times. And my husband, I swear, I love him to pieces. He's probably going to watch this sometimes. I have to throw that in there. But
love you, honey.
we love you. But like he can sleep through anything. I
Oh my
mean, I mean, screaming bloody murder, and the tornado could be going on outside, and he doesn't hear a thing. So I have to like, go, like, can you get up and help me for once? And
Mhm.
oh, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, good Lord. But I'm glad we
I'll
got
never
off on that subject.
I'll never forget the first time I left my husband in charge of waking up with our oldest when she was a baby. I was so mad because he was the same way. He's more of a light sleeper now, but back then when they were babies, he could sleep through anything and everything. So I was like, okay, your responsibility. You're gonna. So I put her on his side of the bed in the little bassinet thing, and I probably got less sleep because I was so worried whether he would wake up to her or not. First freaking night that she slept through the night, I was so mad.
Oh, trust
Slept
me,
through the
our
night. Like,
boys,
mm,
yes, our boys, they get up super, super early. Like we're talking at like 5:30, like just they're up before 6 o'clock, always. And with my husband's job, he works 4 10s. So he has Friday through Sunday off. And he gets Friday mornings, he gets to sleep in. And then Saturday mornings when I get to sleep in. And I'm not kidding you, every Friday morning, it is like 7 a.m. and those kids are still sleeping. And I'm like,
you mean Saturday morning?
oh, no, Fridays when he gets
Oh,
to sleep in.
oh, when he gets to sleep in.
When he gets to sleep in, oh
Oh,
yeah, like they sleep in just fine. And I'm like, how does this happen? And
uh-huh.
then when I get to sleep on Saturday mornings, 5:30, and there's banging in the kitchen, there's, things breaking, and I hear kids screaming, and my husband is like, knock it off, stop doing that. And I'm like sitting there in bed, like, I swear.
Right? Like,
Like
mhm.
they know, I
Yeah.
swear.
And when school starts, it's the same way. Like during the school day, like it's pulling teeth getting them out of bed. And then as soon as the weekend hits, oh, they're up at 6. I'm like, what are we doing?
I know.
What is this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no, but I
Yep.
remember as a kid, I was the same way. I was the same way. So,
Were
but
you? I don't even know. You know
yeah,
what? I don't think my mom, she's never really said if we were bad sleepers. I think we were actually pretty good, but my kids, they're horrible at sleeping. It's
that
not
makes
a, it's a, if I don't get up before at 5:30 when my husband does, like I can't get my workout in.
oh yeah,
And if
no,
I try to work out, if they're downstairs with me, it's like Wyatt's crawling all over me. It's like,
yep,
no, I gotta
yep,
have some me time. And if I don't
yep,
get me time, then the day just kind of I'm already setting myself up for disaster.
yeah, yep. No, my
Yeah.
me time starts at 4:30 in the morning because I'm the same way. If my kids are up, it's just it doesn't work. Even if I
Yeah.
try, I get frustrated because they're down
Yeah.
there, they're running all over. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. I totally get it. Okay, so Alyssa, I got a question for you. What is
Yeah.
one piece of advice that you would give your younger self, or maybe somebody who's just getting into the entrepreneurship? What is one piece of advice that you would give them?
I think, okay, hang on, let me think about this. Um, a piece of advice that I would give myself, my younger self, would be go easy on yourself and don't compare yourself to others.
Mhm.
Um, that'd probably be my biggest advice I could give to my younger self for
Or just
sure.
ourselves in general?
Yeah, right. Um, what I would give advice for other people starting is go easy on yourself. I mean, just take it day by day. Um, have fun with it. And yeah, I mean, just have fun with it. Take it day by day. Mm, yeah, that's all. Yeah, I guess that's all I can say, really.
I think I think I have a hard time with the whole fun thing. Like I love real estate, but I do need to remind myself every now and then is like, okay, how can we make this fun again? So like I did a interview with United Way and like you should put the duck costume on. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. Let's do this interview. I'll be in a duck costume. And that's what we did. And I was like, no, so I was literally wearing this big, huge duck costume, standing there with my little wings flapping because I was like, I need to have
Oh
fun.
my
Like,
gosh.
I need to make this fun and enjoyable.
Yeah,
It'll catch people's attention. Like we need to do
yeah,
things like that. Like just have
yeah.
fun. I don't care what other people say or do or think. Just do what
Hmm.
makes it fun for you. So
Right.
that was interesting. But yeah, there's like an interview with me like in this big huge duck costume. That was like 2 weeks ago. So
Oh my gosh. I'll have to look that up. That's hilarious.
it is pretty funny. It was pretty funny. No, Alyssa, I truly appreciate you being on here. If somebody is looking
Yeah.
to buy or sell in your area, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. Do I just say my phone number
If you're okay
or
with it, absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, my number is 402-310-8796. Or you can look me up on my email, Alyssa, Alyssa .Weber, Weber at woodsbros.com.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
All right. Well, thank you
yeah.
so much, Alyssa, and thank you for
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
yes, you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shae J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.